All right, so let's continue with doing more questions, Euclidean, and then we're going to see how we will solve this question. Okay, so let's now read the statement. In the given figure, APCD is a cyclic quadrilateral. So APCD is a cyclic quad, okay, with AD produced to E, okay, now E la, such that DE is equal to this. So but law yalingana nalo, okay. C and E are joined, P1 equal to P2. Okay, now first, when you're doing this question, you'll analyze this. ABCD is a cyclic quadrilateral. So quadrilateral means that quad, what will happen is that this angle will be equal to that angle because it's a quad, okay. So you must know that because they're subtended by BC. Okay, so into ongayenza which can help you when you're still starting out a question is to just always write down izinto and reasons, okay, by saying BAC is equals to BDC, or marking ganjaya, which that is equal subtended by arc BC, and also the fact that this, okay, that this is also equal, let me do it, law okay, C A D, make sure that you can use the naming format, okay. Motion angle, you have to say CAD, okay. It's like naming how you would go about move with a line as a wakale angle. It's the same thing as saying D, you know, you will say the same thing multi DAC, you know, like you are trying to move line ozowaka low velo, okay. So here's A. So if you want to move to A, you'll start here D, and then to A, and then to C, hence DAC. Okay, so that's how you name this. Make sure that you understand that. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so then CAD is going to be equals to B2. Okay, let's remove this. Okay, is going to be equal to B2, and what else? Which are going to be equal. We are going to have also this being equal to that. Can also write that down and say C1 is going to be equals to B1 because you're still starting out. You want to find is in the so, but all of these, it's because of what? Okay, let me write the last one, which I think now will work for a quad. This will be equal to that. So again, how will you name this one? Line it's BCA. So you'll say BCA, you know, BCA. Move on, Jalo. So BCA. Okay, BCA. Yes, BCA will be equals to this one, which will be ADB. Okay, because that's how you will measure the angle. ADB. Okay, so that's how you do. So this is all based on what is subtended by same arc. Okay, these are all under subtended by same arc. And then another thing here which you can use is the exterior. Okay, it's about like an exterior the question. Let me remove all the details. Okay, so yini ongayiphuma now just from the fact that APCT is a cyclic quad. It is that this exterior angle of a cyclic quad, one of the theorems, this exterior angle of a cyclic quad is going to be equal to the opposite interior. Okay, so this is opposite, lo nalo. So you must never confuse it and say lo nalo. Okay, these are not opposite. Why? Because A not D are on the same line. Okay, you can see, so it's okay, since they are on the same line, they are not opposite. And also you cannot say le nale because D and C, they are also on the same line. So kufanele kube ile angle B, which they abana relationship. Okay, the line value is not like, okay, they are on the same line, but in terms of kanj mawubuka la amanye relationship yawo, you can see ukuthi lo nalo they are on the same line, which nalo on the same line, but the angle is nigh opposite actually. So the way to explain it will be kanjalo. Okay, so then lo nalo exterior angle, so ABC angle, you will say ABC, okay, ABC ulingana no EDC, okay, ulingana no EDC, exterior angle of cyclic quad. Okay, then bese kuba ilamanye lo plus lo is equal to 180. That's very important. futhi BAD plus BCD is equal to 180. Nalo is equal to 180. ABC plus CDA is equal to 180. Practice the naming because you're going to need it calcul on how to name our angles. Okay, but if you don't understand how to name angles, please comment Ugushuti, can you do a video on how to name the angles? Alright, so then that is part of cyclic quad. So most of my questions for the cyclic quad was ukusebenzisa zonke lezo zinto lezo in relation with cyclic quad. Here's another information. P1 is equal to P2. Okay, so you now know P1 is equal to P2. That means this angle is equal to that angle, meaning lo bisect. Okay, so lulingana lo, that is good information ongayisebenzisa. Okay, another information here, nearly missed it. DE is equals to DC. Okay, that means massively DE is equal to DC. This angle will be equal to this. So every time you must know what does it mean. It's an isosceles triangle, so you can write down and say DCE is equals to DEC. So balingana, these are both equal. Alright, so now let's do more questions. Prove that C1 is equals to B2. C1 is equals to B2. Okay, so C1, what will C1 be? Where is C1? So this is C1. So C1 ulingana no. Okay, if you come here, you're going to see that C1 is equal to P1. Okay, so we already said C1 is equal to P1. We already said that. Okay, so now once what is C1, okay, is equal to P1. So P1 is equal to, that's what we are given here. B1 is equal to B2. So B1 is equal to B2. Hence, these are going to be equal. They are both equal to B1. C1 is equal to B1, B2 is equal to B1, therefore C1 is equal to B2. So isn't it in the FA or those into letters are fun. Alright, so then that's how you will prove that they are equal. Okay, so C1 is equal to B2. So that's how you'll solve for this part of the question. Okay, so you can see ukwazi ukubona this, and using what you are given helps you to solve the question. So number 2. So for number 2, AD is equal to DC. So you want to prove AD is equal to DC. Now try to map that out. AD, this is the line, is equals to DC. Okay, so I want to find out the isosceles, like when I prove that my angles are linear. So I want to prove that these angles are equal. That's what I want to prove, because AD equals to DC. That's what I want to prove. So I'm going to reframe equation here and say I want to prove that CAD is equals to C1. Okay, I want to prove that CAD is equals to C1. That's what I want to prove. AD and not DC. So then ask yourself, who CAD lingana? Okay, CAD, yeah, CAD is equals to B2. Okay, so we already wrote la. So that is CAD is equal to B2, and if we are born, CAD will be equal to B2 but subtended by this arc or by this chord or ngati segment. So you're going to say CAD. So local, this is what we want to prove, required to prove. It's what you want to prove. So CAD is equal to B2, okay, angles on the same segment, and then B2 is equal to C1, la, proven. So these again will be equal. So CAD will be equal to C1. Alright, CAD will be equal to C1, which then means that AD is equal to DC. So you can see to prove this question that AD is equal to DC. For AD to be equal to DC, this will make the pink triangle to be an isosceles, therefore should find prove our base angles to be equal. That is another approach. Another approach maybe prove some form of incongruence if that will not work. But that is the first simple approach you will take. As you can see, understanding these things on the side makes things easier for you. But then you wouldn't write this. It's okay. Alright. So then CDE is equals to 2 times B2. Okay. So where is CDE? So CDE, C, right, D, right, E. Okay, so this angle CDE. Corner langa ngaipala corner the angle. Yes, ngaipala, but I called it EDC. And I said ilingana. Okay, but let's prove it ilingana 2 times B2. I know Leo angle ilingana nale ABC. Okay, so from here I can then write English it. Okay, CDE C D E is equal to A B C, exterior angle of cyclic quad. Yeah, simple. Okay, so you can see ukuthi this statement is understand nama theorems akhona kusho ukuthini. So we mean this will be equal to that. Okay, now once I've written that, I'm going to continue and say ABC ulingana no B1 plus B2. I have to make sure that then why was it A1 plus B2, because I'm looking at the answer no B2. So I first write down the theorem engizosebenzisa ukuthi lo related to bani, we're using the theorem. And then once I find that, I then see okay, I have to include some B2. So how is ABC related to B2? So then I say B1 plus B2. You're still not sure what is the answer, you know, if we are trying, but then that's how you break the question down and down and down. First write to CTE ulingana exterior and write that. How do we body answer? First write to okay, laws ulingana. And then law, how is this related to B2? Okay, B1 plus B2. And B1 plus B2, how are they related? B1 is equal to B2. So balingana, which makes this to be B2, because this is the same thing. So that's how we approach your question. First, use the theorem. Then once you find the law, try to see how can you relate law with the answer or lingana noba law. And then local kanjalo. Okay. So the method to solve my questions in Euclidean is, first, if I say to you, prove that A is equal to C. This I prove that A is equal to C. What you will do is say A is equal to B, and then you state your reason, and then you ask yourself B is equal to maybe G1 lapo. Your question answer. Okay, then you ask yourself what you want lingana, and you say G1 equals to D, and then ask yourself what D lingana bani. So probably as you're still asking those questions, it will then go to D lingana A. Okay, or D lingana B. So now once we lingana B, B lingana G1, G1 lingana D, D lingana B, it will make no, not B. I want to say lingana no C. Okay, so once kanjalo, then you can see that A will be equal to C. So that's how you approach it. And then looking at the answer call for clues, iyakusiza ukuthi iziphi izinto fanele combination, where must you go? Okay, because there are a lot of things elinganayo la, but so that okay uzoba specific, usheshe ufike answerni. Looking at your solution makes things very easy for you. So the last one, E equals to 90 minus B2. Again, E ulingana no ba. Okay, E is equals to DCE. Okay, we can see logo from here. So that's what you will do now. You first write down when a local bona and say, okay, E is equals to D C E, because you're told ukuthi DC is equals to DE. That is what we were told. Okay, isosceles. So E is equal to DCE. Now then you ask yourself another question, DCE ulingana no bani. So okay, yeah, ask yourself DCE ulingana no bani, but you don't know DCE ulingana no ba, because no one told you what it's tangent lo, so you ngeke uzuyisebenzise. No one mentioned indaba tangent, so don't try to talk about the tangent when no one mentioned the tangent. So don't force into engashiwongo, because when you start to force into engashiwongo, that's where you start to be wrong. So then you'll try to just use this triangle. I say, okay, let me just try and use this triangle and add all angles gone. All right, so let's do just that and say E plus DCE plus CDE equals to 180. Okay, then I look at my answer, B2. Okay, and I just proved to CDE ulingana B2, so I can take that ngizokufaka just la. Let me write 2B2 manje la, and then I know ukuthi I've just wrote to E ulingana no DCE, then I'm going to have 2E, because laba mabo add they must give you 2E equals to 180. So 2E equals to 180 minus 2B2. When you divide all that by 2, you must get 90 minus B2. Okay, so that's how you solve the question.